Welcome back. Today I have another video for you, and today I kind of wanted to introduce the Mercedes GLB 250 to everybody. I am actually a big fan of these cars. This one I have with me today is actually a loaner vehicle from Mercedes while mine is getting serviced, but this is, I think, my third encounter with the GLB, and like I said, I am a big fan of these cars. I became a fan of this car because my first encounter with one a few months back, I remember I was really tired, not in the best physical state, and I had to drive one of these from Las Vegas to LA. And I was just shocked at how comfortable it was, and how, I was not tired at all. It gave me a good really good first impression after driving it to LA, and driving one back the very next day just showed me how comfortable these cars are. So I became a fan of these right away. And to be fair, this is not the best Mercedes. It's not super high end. It's not. It's actually the more of entry level Mercedes. But coming from someone who's had, all different levels of these vehicles, I have to say I am really impressed with this one, especially since I didn't like the GLA too much. With that being said, again, before I get into the good parts of this car, let me start with stuff like this, the bad of the car. Like stitching like that, the dreadful road noise you hear from these entry-level Mercedes. Mercedes, you really have to do something about that. You gotta fix this, because even though you call it entry level, these cars still go into the 50,000 range. I mean, they start at 40, but they easily, with options and taxes and whatnot, they can easily go into 45, 50,000, especially if you go with the 4Matic, which I highly recommend, and I'll get into that more a little later. But yeah, the entry level Mercedes, again, quality control, you guys got to do something about that. Brand new car like this, stitching shouldn't be coming up like that. When I had my GLA, which I don't have anymore, and I traded it in with only 30,000 miles. It was like 2 or 3 years old maybe, and my seats were already ripping on the side here. That's not good. I don't care if it's not a S-Class or even an E-Class, or it's a car with 30,000 miles should not do that. I was very disappointed in the quality control with the GLAs. When I had a CLA, same thing. Car was decent, but the quality control wasn't there. You could even see the door gaps. And again, when you buy a luxury car like this, again, even though it's not an E-Class or S-Class or the higher end ones or even mid-range ones, you don't want to hear road noise. That's the worst thing in the world. But these cars do have that. Now that I got the bad out of the way, the good. Like I said, this vehicle is super comfortable. I actually like these better than the GLCs. I had a much better experience with the GLBs than I did with the GLCs. The engine only pumps out 220 something horsepower, but you cannot feel that. When I first jumped in, I thought they had at least 260 or 270. However, I do highly recommend the 4Matics with these lower end vehicles. It makes a huge difference. Just the way that the non-4Matics drive, the way they accelerate, I don't know if it's tuned differently, but they feel very light, very jumpy. Again, this is probably front wheel drive, just like the CLA and the entry level GLAs. But if you get the 4Matic, it is completely different. It's much better. Not just the way it drives, but just the way it accelerates. It has that Mercedes feel, whereas these lower end ones that are non-4Matic, they kind of don't. Again, they feel kind of light and jumpy. But even then, don't get me wrong, I'm referencing and comparing to other models. Even then, they're actually really good vehicles. The acceleration is actually really great on this car, again, for a car that only has 220 something horsepower. But yeah, let me get on the road so that you guys can kind of hear some of the sounds that this car has, and you can see how it is on the road. But like, I don't know if you heard that or you can see. I'm sure you can, I mean, over video. But so even when I was starting off, it kind of had a somewhat of a lag, but it wasn't a turbo lag. It was more of a kind of like, it felt like the best way I can put it, like the clutch isn't grabbing all the way kind of lag. And again, the 4Matic didn't have that at all. But with this non-4Matic version, it's very noticeable. It's almost to the point like where yesterday I was at a drive-thru at Cane's picking up some chicken, and right when I came to a stop to place my order, I was at a speed bump, and when I tried to accelerate again, RPM shot up so much and the car wasn't moving. I actually thought the car was in park, but it wasn't. It was just that lag that caused me to feel like the car is not moving and not getting past the bump, but the car wasn't in park. It was actually in drive, and it took me a while to get over that bump, which is funny because when you're on the regular road and once like the clutch, you feel the clutch grab, you have so much juice and acceleration. Like, you can actually feel the turbo kick in, and kind of, I want to say it's a little more stronger than some of the other vehicles that I've driven from Mercedes. So again, I don't know if these newer vehicles are just tuned differently, or yeah, or if it's just this specific model. But yeah, the 4Matic version did not do that. The 4Matic accelerated and drove very similarly to the higher models. But the non-4Matic version, it kind of does have that. You can definitely tell that it's a front-wheel drive by the way it handles and by the way it accelerates. You can feel the car. Again, it's a little jumpy, but again, for entry-level, Mercedes, it's the quality and comfort is definitely there. Drive-wise, again, little stuff like the stitching and the seats, and I think they could have done a better job with that, of course, which would raise costs. But all in all, yeah, this car is a super comfortable car. It's actually really roomy. The back seats, they don't recline a lot, but they do a little bit slightly, which helps a lot because most back seats, you're kind of in a 90-degree upward position, which most people don't like, and they get car sick and it's uncomfortable. But cargo space, not bad. Once again, if you have a huge family, or like you have kids that are getting older, might not be for you. But if you just need something that can help, with a little bit of room while being balanced as a, not a full-size SUV, I highly recommend this vehicle. Again, I highly recommend paying the extra. If I'm correct, I think it's like maybe somewhere in the ball. Don't quote me on this, but somewhere in the ballpark of $2,500 more or so for the 4Matic version. I highly recommend the 4Matic with this vehicle. It's a world of difference. But yeah, this is probably, yeah. Again, I like this much better than the GLA or the GLC. Of course, you can't compare it to GLC. Yeah, like I was saying, I like this vehicle much better than the GLAs or the GLCs. You can't compare it to GLE or anything above that. You go into a whole different level, a whole different realm of vehicle. that area. But yeah, out of the entry-level ones, I like this one a lot. And I can't emphasize this enough, but it's definitely worth paying the extra like $2,500 or so for the 4Matic version. It's a completely different vehicle also. So yeah, definitely if you're thinking about getting a GLB, get the 4Matic. Other than that, I mean, the display, the AC vents, I have another video that I'm probably going to add to this one, but if you look at nighttime, they all light up too. So it has features that some of the more expensive ones have. CarPlay, this particular model has it. I'm not sure if it's standard on these vehicles, but you know, I mean, CarPlay is definitely a plus these days. I think that pretty much sums up my video. GLB, highly recommended with 4Matic though. And yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. As always, this is David, and yeah, thank you for watching.